All opinions or statements expressed on the program are solely those of Investors Schooling or their guests and do not reflect the opinions of WPHT or Odyssey.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. This is Investors Schooling Live with your host, Larry Steinhaus, CEO of Investors Schooling.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Investor Schooling Live. I got the music off short. I'm dying here with my tooth. I got to do my intro, and I got to talk about my tooth after I do my intro. You guys got to hear this story anyway. All right, welcome. Let me see if I can do the intro with my tooth. Anyway, welcome to Investor Schooling Live. Investor Schooling Live is transmitting from the Investor Schooling Studios. Wow, do I have a lisp?
Keep it up and you will.
Oh, man. From the Investor Schooling Studios here. I always make this the most serious part of the show. I can't even do it with my tooth. All right. Anyway, I'm the CEO of Investor Schooling. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Thanks for listening in. Get ready to learn real estate investing. Oh boy, there goes my career. Stock option trading and so many more things about money I bet you didn't know. Hey, you can call us anytime during the show with your questions. And the best part is if you call us during the show, I won't have to speak because you can. 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. That's right. We're a live program. You can call anytime during the show and we'll take your calls. Do not worry about the topics. We'll take your calls about anything that has to do with money, finance, or even politics. No problem. We will enjoy the call. Hey, if you're watching online, please say hi. I see Joe is saying hi already. Thank you, Joe. And it's the only way I know you're watching is if you say hi. At Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing, stock options trading, how to save money and taxes, how to be financially free, and we even give you the motivation to make money work for you instead of you working for money. Investor Schooling is located in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, right off the Newtown Bypass, serving the New Jersey and Greater Philadelphia areas in a real brick-and-mortar building. Our students are also located in several states with our exclusive web access to our classes and seminars. Hey, get ready to learn something new. Get ready to learn the business of entrepreneurship, real estate investing, and stock options trading from your friendly neighborhood financial expert, and that's me, Larry Steinhaus. I'm here, of course, with Dr. Deb.
Hey, everybody.
And so I see. So I don't know if you realize this, but Glenn Page, our normal producer, he's normally on today, and we have Sean. Thank you, Sean, for being there. I really appreciate you. But Glenn is he's home with a cold, and he actually wrote on. He's saying hi, and he wrote cough, cough, which is pretty funny.
Okay, I didn't understand why he wrote that. I thought it was in reference to your mouth.
Yeah,
okay.
At first I did too, but then I realized who it was, and I realized why he said it. I got to give you guys the explanation of why the whole beginning of the show was the way it was, and. Maybe the way I'm talking.
I just have to laugh.
I'm even wondering if anybody can notice it. I can. So it's like I got a certain lisp going on.
It's very slight. It is very slight.
And it's really bothering me, actually. Because, I really like listening to my voice.
I think we all know that you like listening to your voice. That's nothing new. We already know that.
So basically what happened was last Sunday, and you guys are going to crack up because, as you know, I'm opening an ice cream store. See, I can't even. But I think that was the New York accent, not
That's
the
New York thing, the Brooklyn thing.
Yeah, right. So I'm opening an ice cream store, and the interesting part was, I'm taste testing ice cream everywhere, or maybe that's just the excuse for me to buy ice cream. I'm not sure which, but so I bought this ice cream, and it was a local place. It's actually a really good place near my house. It's called Uncle Mike's Ice Cream. If you've ever been to Warminster, Uncle Mike's Ice Cream is really, really good, and they have in the freezer chocolate ice cream sandwiches, and they have this one flavor ice cream called Chocolate Chunk, and it's my favorite. Chocolate Chunk is my favorite ice cream that they have there. One of my favorites, because they have a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
One of my favorites they have there, and they had it in an ice cream sandwich. And of course, my wife and I, we bought a bunch of ice cream sandwiches the day before. We had some, and we put them in the freezer. Now, we took them out of the freezer, and we're watching TV, and I took one bite into this thing, and, it was really, really good, but it was frozen. Really, really frozen because I didn't let it thaw out first.
Right.
I took the second bite, and one of those chocolate chunks got between two of my teeth in the back, and I bit down, and I broke the tooth instead of the chocolate chunk. So that was Sunday night. Monday morning, I'm in my dentist's office, and I want to thank my dentist too. He's probably not listening, but Dr. Stephen Au, who's in what's the place? Colmar, Pennsylvania, which is right next to Lexington. And he's become a friend, actually. I really like this guy, Dr. Stephen Au. If you ever, A.U., it's really funny that his last name is Au, A.U. and he's a dentist. You don't think that's funny?
A-U?
Yeah, Dr. Al.
Dr. Al. Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty funny.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, so
I heard you do the 2:30 joke the other day.
Yeah, the 2:30. Yeah. So anyway, so Dr. Al fixes my tooth in the morning, but he takes a look at it. He goes, we can't save this tooth. It's broken, but below the gum. We got to pull it. You're gonna have to have a implant put in. So he pulled it. It takes 2 months to put an implant in, and they put this appliance in my mouth, and the appliance in my mouth is a pain to use, but that's the side I usually chew on. So last night, my wife and I go out to dinner. So, by the way, that was an ordeal itself, having your tooth pulled. I mean, that was just 2 days of pain. But anyway, so last night my wife and I go out for dinner. We go to Logan. I'm like plugging everybody, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. You are plugging everybody.
So we go to the Logan Inn.
You should plug the investor schooling a little bit too.
Maybe I'll do that too, right? So we go to Logan Inn, and I order. They have a tomahawk steak.
Okay.
It's $170 tomahawk steak, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I had a really nice glass of bourbon, and I had this glass of bourbon, and the tomahawk steak comes, and like I bite into it, and sure enough, I'm eating on the other side now because I can't eat on the right side. I usually eat on the right side. I got to eat on the left side now, and I don't know, 3 bites into it, boom. I was in so much pain in that side of my mouth that the manager came over, actually the waiter came over and asked me if I was okay. Wow. He thought I was choking.
Oh, wow.
Because he saw the expression on my face and he saw that everything was, that I was tearing.
Yeah.
That's how much it hurt. I couldn't finish the steak. So so now we take $170 steak home, which I couldn't even enjoy. Yeah. So luckily, Dr. Al, like I said, he had been his patient for many years, and we become friends. Luckily, I had his cell phone number, and I texted him. And I said, "You're not going to believe this, but I got it. But I got another tooth that needs to be fixed." So I was there this morning, and he was very funny. He's like, "I'm like, look," I said, "if it needs another root canal, just pull the tooth. Because why should we even go through what we went through the last 2 years with the other tooth?
Yeah.
Let's just pull it, right?" So he goes, "All right, before we pull it, let's take an x-ray." So he comes back with the x-ray. He goes, "There's nothing wrong with your tooth." He goes, "A filling broke, and what happened was it lodged into the gum, and it lodged into a place that was so painful. That's all you're feeling." Yeah. And he goes, so he took the filling, fixed it, and now my mouth is partly numb.
I was going to say, you're probably still numb.
And the appliance in my mouth that's for the other tooth is making it really hard for me to talk, and I'm really annoyed. So just so you know, that was the whole first 10 minutes of our segment. And if anybody wants to call in and make wish me to feel better, I would be so happy because the things I do for you guys to come in on a Saturday. First of all, on a Saturday, that's probably the first nice Saturday in weeks.
I know.
That I come in on a Saturday to say hello to you, all you guys, and talk to you about real estate and investing and making money. Then I have my tooth pulled on Monday, and I have a tooth filled this morning, and I'm still here for you guys. So you better call in and thank me. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. I don't know if I could say it one more time, but I'm going to try. 855-939-1137.
So you're getting some outpourings. People are like,
yeah, I know,
feel better.
Online, yeah, I know. I got a couple people saying it online, sure.
So people are feeling for you?
Yeah,
I think it's funny.
So
it's a shame because that's a tomahawk. It's like it's a really good steak.
It's my favorite steak. I know. Yeah, it's so good. But I did not. I actually was thinking this morning. I was thinking about going vegetarian. Actually, if I go vegan, I won't eat ice cream and I won't eat steak, so I could solve all my problems.
There you go.
Maybe that's why they do it.
And you can lose some weight at the same time because you don't have to worry about any of that stuff either because there's no food. You'll eat like a rabbit and you'll be good to go.
No, not a rabbit. You'll eat lettuce. Rabbit food.
Like a rabbit.
Oh, like a rabbit.
Like a rabbit.
Oh, I thought you said eat a rabbit.
No, like a rabbit.
Rabbit tastes like chicken anyway.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
You never had rabbit before?
I've never had rabbit before.
Yeah, rabbit tastes like chicken.
No. I had alligator. Alligator tastes like chicken.
Alligator tastes like chicken?
Alligator tastes like chicken.
I don't remember.
I had alligator.
I think I've had alligator, but I just don't remember.
Yeah,
anyway. All right, so now that we wasted 10 minutes of the audience time talking about my teeth and food and all that good stuff, and they probably all turned the radio off going, "Hey, I want to hear about investing. I don't want to hear about this."
No lisp on the radio. There you go.
No lisp on the radio sounds good. Yeah, so Linda, my wife, is saying that there's no lisp on the radio. I'm telling you, there's a lisp. I can hear it. I can hear it in the headphones, and I can hear it as I speak it. That's pretty funny. No, I'm doing it intentionally. All right. So what do you want to talk about, Deb?
So interestingly enough, about an hour ago or hour and a half ago, I got a call from a friend of mine out in California. and she was talking to me about a partial that she has for sale.
Partial note.
A partial
Right.
note.
So you got to explain what a partial note is.
No,
before
I didn't. You didn't give me a chance to
I know, but
finish.
you usually say partial. I'm like,
Okay, well, you didn't give me a chance to I was just setting everything up.
All
so,
right, I got
all
it,
right.
okay.
So anyway, so somebody called me up about a partial, and a partial. So some of you guys know that I do some note investing where you're buying distressed debt, like that's backed by a property. So that's a note. Anyway, so you can sell notes a couple different ways, and one way that you could sell it is you can sell a partial. And a partial is when you're selling a piece of those payments. So this house is, I think the note is for 20 years. It's for a property that's out in Pennsylvania, somewhere on the west side of Pennsylvania. And it's a 20-year note, and they're selling the first 5 years of the payments. So what's nice about that is the first 10 years is mostly interest. So if you're buying the note and you're buying this quote unquote partial, it's called a partial, you're getting mostly interest on this. So the interest, I think it's a 10% return on it, which is actually not bad for a partial. So I think it has a 8.3% interest on this loan. So that my friends were talking to me about it earlier today, like I said, about an hour and a half ago, we were having this discussion. So I actually wanted to reach out to maybe you and maybe to Dan to see if,
Sure.
because I wanted to get a little bit more information on it.
So I'll tell you
a
what.
little bit of research on it.
Because again, so you got to remember the audience that we're listening to is very junior, or most of them are junior.
Yeah.
And they probably have no idea what you just said, which is okay. I actually want to get back to it because I want to talk about that, because I want to talk about note investing, because I think it'd be a great thing to talk about. But real quick, we got Eddie in Havertown. What's going on, Eddie?
I just wanted to tell you that I can empathize with the dental stuff. I went through all that about a month ago.
I know, I can hear it in your voice. You got
I
you got the same lisp I'm talking with.
There you go. So anyway, it was good listening to you. I always like listening to you. I got to get with you in the school. I'm going to go be busy for about 6 weeks, a lot of overtime. But when I get done, I'll be getting in touch with you, Larry.
That'd be great, man. So you know how to do that. You go to investorschooling.com and you can RSVP. Go to investorschooling.com, RSVP there. You could show up. We'd love to have you. It's so much fun when listeners come in. We have such a blast. They walk in and we say hi and they go, I know that voice. It's really pretty wild. So please do. We'd love to have you, Eddie.
I don't recognize the voice without dental work, but so keep me in mind. I'll be talking to you in about 3 weeks, and
Awesome.
I listen to you all the time. Thank you very much.
Awesome, man. Hey, got any questions?
Not right now. No, I don't.
All right, Eddie.
I can't get into it right now.
Cool. We'll see you in class. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. All right, so let's talk about notes. So
Okay.
Debbie invests in notes. So just so you guys know what a note is, so if anybody out there has a house and they have a mortgage and they have a mortgage payment, the mortgage payment that they're making to the banks call that a note. And that's basically what it is. It's basically short for promissory note. Boy, it's hard to speak. Try to say the word promissory note with a thing in your mouth. Yeah, that's great. Right. So anyway,
I'm sorry, I can't help it. I
so
can't
funny.
help it.
It's really, really funny. It's like it's going to be the whole show. It's going to be all about my lisp.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
all about
right.
your teeth today.
Yeah, right.
Yep, it's all
yeah,
good. It's all
it'd be
good.
great. Well, make sure at 2:30 we talk about it being tooth-hurdy.
Yeah, I heard you making
Yeah.
that because I've heard that joke so
I
many
know.
times over the years, and it's just not funny anymore.
I know, I
but
guess
you know,
not, but yeah, whatever.
I don't know.
All
I
right.
guess everybody always has that joke. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so back to the notes.
All right, so back to so that's a note. So the bank owns this note, and you're making payments to them. They get interest on it. They also get partial premium, partial principal. What's up, folks? Partial principal on that note. So sometimes banks, a couple of things happen. Sometimes, let's say, for example, and a lot of things that Debbie looks at are notes that are not paying, that are not performing, and the bank says, hey, instead of us going after these people, we'll just sell the note. So let's say it's a $100,000 note. They might sell it to somebody like Dr. Deb for $60,000. And then Dr. Deb tries to collect on it, and maybe she can get it performing. Maybe she can get the $100,000 a day, or whatever she wants to do, because the bank just feels, hey, we're better off taking our 60% and moving on instead of hiring an attorney and doing all that stuff. But sometimes banks, and you probably noticed this, they'll sell your note to another bank. So all of a sudden, you've got Citibank doing your mortgage, and the next thing you know, it's North Star or something like that. I don't know.
They usually sell them actually when you first get a note. It's usually they sell it within the first 30 days.
Yeah.
So that this way they can recap on their money and then get another,
Right.
put out more notes. So they
Right,
can
but
do that.
and the reason they do that is whatever they do, that's they have a business doing that's fine. But there may also be that they may even sell it years later, or maybe a smaller bank or a smaller servicer buys it, and then they put it up for sale, and people like Dr. Deb go out there and buy it, and maybe they're performing notes. So it sounds like this is a performing note, the one you're talking about.
This one's a
partial.
performing note.
Right.
Yeah.
So now there are people who say, hey, you know what? I've got this note, and I'm getting, let's say, $1,000 a month payment because that's the principal and interest. But right now, I could really use, for the next 5 years, instead of $60,000, is that right? Did I do the math right? $1,000, no, 60,000, because it'd be $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Instead of $60,000 a month over 12 months, I'll take $50,000 right now and let you collect $1,000 a month over the next 5 years,
Right.
and then the payments go back to me. So that would be buying a partial note. So that's how you can buy partial notes, which is it's a really good investment if you understand how it works and you understand that you're just you're paying them in advance, and because you're paying them in advance, you're paying them at a discount, and then you're collecting the money. And actually, those numbers that I just gave are pretty solid numbers. That's pretty much what's going to happen. If it's 60,000 over 5 years, 50,000 is probably a pretty good price, I would think.
Yeah.
You make
Because
it
you remember
10,000,
too,
you
like
make
that.
20% over.
Because
yeah,
you,
okay.
because you could buy the partials in the beginning of the note, or you could buy them at the end of the note. But you want to buy them in the beginning because that's where most of the interest
Mm-hmm.
is. So you make more money if you buy them in the beginning.
Well, does it make a difference if you're getting $1,000 a month either way? Because you're only buying the partial.
Yeah, but the partial, you remember, is still split up between the principal and
Right.
interest, right? So if you're buying it for the first 10 years or the first 5 years of the note as opposed to the last 5
Oh,
years of the
because you're
note,
getting the interest too.
you're getting the interest and you
okay.
make money on the
Interesting.
interest. You don't make as much money on the principal.
Okay, I just
So-
thought I thought you were buying the payments.
Right, you are, but those payments that are coming in are still split between the P&I, right?
But if you
The
give it
principal
back actually, I'm not sure. And again, this is not my expertise. I know it's yours, but I'm not sure if we're on the same page on this.
Okay.
So if the guy, whatever, let's say the guy owes $100,000 and you're buying $60,000 of payment, you're not buying $60,000
So
of a note.
you're getting that's where you're getting yourself confused
Okay,
because
okay.
we were talking about partials, but you're talking about non-performing. We're talking
No,
about
I'm
two
not even
separate-
talking about non-performing. I'm talking about performing, where you're buying $60,000 of payments, not $60,000 of principal.
But why would you buy 60,000 of payments if the mortgage is
Because
100,000?
if I'm paying the reason I'm buying 60,000, remember that when you make $60,000 worth of payments, the original note holder who sold you the partial, he makes the interest on it. Now, it doesn't really matter to him. He just wants instead of having $60,000 paid to him over 5 years, he wants $50,000 up front now. Remember, at the end of the 5 years, the note's still his.
Right.
You're basically buying the payments.
You're buying the payments for 5 years.
But it doesn't matter if it's principal or interest. At least, and this is something I don't know because it's possible. I thought you're selling. If Dan Zatowski's listening, call in because we love the explanation.
Yeah.
But because he does this all the time.
Right.
But I thought you're buying just the payments for 5 years. And the example I gave you, buying just the payments for 5 years, and you're paying a discount up front to buy those payments for 5 years. So, like I said, if it's
You are.
$60,000 for the payments,
So that's right. That's right. But I think that so think of it this way: if they decide to move and they pay off their loan early, you're still making
Oh, that's interesting.
a larger percentage because most of those payments
That's
are going to be
interesting.
interest and not principal. So that's why
That's
if you buy it towards the front of the loan, you're getting more interest payments
Great.
as opposed to buying it at the back where you're getting more principal interest.
so there's more to it than I thought it was, which is interesting. I'd love
There's
to know
no-
the math on that because that's interesting.
yeah, so there's a
Because
little bit more to
if
that.
you buy the partial, so the numbers I gave, 60,000 and 50,000, is that how you're buying the partial, or you have to give them a payment up front and then they pay you back? Yeah, I guess they do.
You
They
pay
pay you
them-
back part of the principal. Yeah, if
Yeah.
they sell the note early, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
if they
So
pay
when
the
it
note early,
sells, then you
yeah.
get all your principal. You should be able to get all your principal back.
Right,
But you have
so-
to look at the contract of sale when you it's the MLS. It's called the MLSA. I forget what
Right.
it stands for, but the agreement of sale and see what's involved in that if they pay off the loan. But then the other issue too is that if they decide to not pay, then you have to collect and go
Right.
through that process
Right.
too. So there's always some risks involved.
So what it really sounds like is if you're buying a partial, you hope they don't move, and you hope they make all the payments. Those are the two
Right.
best scenarios for you.
Yeah, you want them to mortgage note that I was talking to somebody about has been seasoned for about 6 months.
Okay,
It's a newer, it's a newer note.
6 months, most likely they're not moving.
Yeah, most likely they're
Most
not
people
gonna
move in 7 years.
Yeah,
Right,
so
and-
odds are they should continue to make payments for the
Right,
next.
and this would be a residential, not a
residential. Yeah.
not an investment property. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so so we teach all and understand that I'm not the know-it-all, be-all. I'm a pretty smart guy, but we have a lot of people here who know things that I don't know, and obviously the note specialist is Dr. Deb, and that's a really good way to make money without buying the real estate. No toilets, no trash, no tenants.
Termites. No termites, no toilets, no tenants. You got the T's mixed up. Look at that look. Larry gives me a look like,
it's
shut
anything
up.
you want. Whatever.
Just saying. It's termites, toilets,
I
and
don't get
tenants.
termites.
Get that right. You have to get that right.
I had termites in my very first house I ever bought, my investment property, my very first one, and
Okay.
it was a nightmare.
Okay.
And I had a termite inspection. They found nothing.
So actually, it's funny because the house that we bought, our first house that we bought in Jersey, when we went to sell it, we had a termite inspection and there was dead termites everywhere. But somehow they missed it when we got it first inspected, and it cost us whatever to get it all fixed up. But everything was dead, so it was just a very weird situation.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was very weird.
Yeah, I had a lot of termite damage I had to fix too in that house, but that's all right. I did, and then I sold it. I didn't care.
Yeah.
So anyway,
No
I see,
teeth.
I see Glenn is like going on YouTube now. And he's talking about no teeth.
There you go.
Thanks, Glenn. Hey, Glenn, you got a song with no teeth? You got to teach it. You got to play a song with no teeth. So Glenn Page, who's our producer, he does music, and some of it is kind of fun. We actually played his Mother's Day music last year, and he you can see me. I'm actually holding my
I know.
cheek. Yeah, right. So anyway, he probably could write a song called No Teeth. I'm looking forward to it.
Four T's.
4 T's. Whatever. Glenn. Glenn, if you want to call in, we usually bring you in on the show. We got Sean now. Hey, Sean, you're better than Glenn, right, Sean? He's not
I
even
won't
listening.
say all of that.
No, you should
No,
say all
Glenn's a
that
great guy.
because you're there and he's not.
At least you're involved.
But he's sick, so I understand.
I don't care if Glenn's sick.
He said I would care if he's sick. Why not? Why you don't care about Glenn? I mean, he's sick right now. You gotta wish him some luck.
I wish you luck, Glenn. Go take a COVID test so you can take out of work for 2 weeks.
Sending you love, Glenn. We're sending
Yeah,
you
we're
love.
sending you love, Glenn, because Sean likes you better than I do, obviously. All right.
No, you like him more, Larry.
I like everybody, man. I like everybody unless they really, really upset me, and then I take my vengeance on them.
Yeah, it's always fun when you throw people out. So
Yeah, exactly. All right. Anyway, if you guys want to call in, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. Call in. I'll tell you what do you want to do? You want to do a book giveaway?
I think we should. Yeah.
All right, so we should do a book giveaway. But let's see if we could come up with something.
I know Omri's not here to
I know,
make
I
fun
know.
of.
That was
'cause
so funny
that
last week.
That was a lot of fun actually last week. Yeah,
So,
it was
but
fun.
what should we do with a book giveaway? I tell you what. First person to call in with an idea of what we should do to give the book away, we'll get a book, and we'll be able to give it to the next person with your idea. How's that?
There you go.
So call in 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. Sean will put you on the air with us, and you give us a really good idea of what a contest or something to give this book away. So you guys know my book. My book is called Money Hacks, and the subtitle is because everything you think you know about money is wrong. And I'm telling you, we have people come in all the time and say how great the book is.
Yeah, we do have a lot of people come in and say how great the book is. So
Yeah,
that's neat.
and I say it's great not just because I wrote it. By the way, did you know that it was just released in India?
I saw that.
Isn't that cool?
And it has a different color.
Yeah, it's a different
cover,
cover, which is really weird. But
no, I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
Congratulations. I think that's really sharp.
So my mother, and I wonder, she never listens to me anyway. She never listens on the radio. She my mother's like, the first thing when I wrote the book, she's like, "Did you sell any?"
Well,
and I'm like, "Yeah." And like, "Did you read it?" And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "You should read it, Mom. It's a really good book." "Yeah, maybe I'll get to it." So then it gets released in India, and I put it on Facebook that it's released in India. And what does she do? She copies and pastes it on her wall, and she says, "Oh, I'm so proud of my son. It's released in India." And I write back, I said, "You didn't even read it."
So, well, that's what moms are for. She means well. She means well.
So if you call in right now and give us an idea for a contest for the book, 855-939-1137, 939-1137, and we will give you a book to give us an idea of how to give the book away. It's kind of weird.
So I actually was trying to get my Phil to read the book, and he only read the part on the one-pay lease. Remember, you have that whole section on the one-pay lease?
Yeah, one-pay lease, sure.
The one-pay lease. So when we were going to buy his car, because for those of you that don't know, my husband got rear-ended by like this drunken high driver, and his truck was completely, destroyed. Anyway, so it took a couple months. It was when even used cars were through the roof pricing. And he bought a truck sight unseen. It was coming on he had to wait like a month or two for it. And then I went in and we were talking to the dealership. And every 5 minutes I'd go outside and talk to Larry. I'm like, all right, what do I do next? What do I do next? And it was funny. And the guy behind the counter, he's like, who are you talking to? Every time you go out there, I'm like, no, nobody. I just need to get clarification on something or other. But it was just funny because I think he was there maybe 10 or 15 years and he heard of the one-pay lease, but there was only one or two other people who actually have ever done it in all that time. So that was really pretty funny. So
what Deb's talking about is, there's several ways to buy a car. You can lease a car, you can buy a car cash, or you could finance a car. Well, if you do the math and you do it right, and you read my book and I explain how to do it, there's something called a one-pay lease, which is the absolute best way to buy it. Even if you're going to buy your car cash, buy it with a one-pay lease, and then pay the second payment afterwards. But the absolute best way to do this is to do it with a one-pay lease. Read the book. I'll explain how to do it. Hey, hold on. We got Jim in Pottstown who might have an idea for us how to give away the book. What's up, Jim?
Don't have any ideas for the book. I wanted to ask you how you get into your stuff without being a landlord, because but in real estate, like buying notes, or when you go to the courthouse, you can buy homes that on sheriff sale, and if they don't pay, it becomes yours.
So you're talking about tax liens. You could do tax liens or tax deeds, and you could do note investing and all of that. You don't have to deal with the properties that much for it. So if you do note investing, you don't have to deal with tenants, toilets, or termites. So you don't have to deal with any of that stuff. And you actually have a loss mitigation team that works for you. So you're not even involved talking to the borrower. So it's all kind of off-site. You could do it through the computer. You could be at home, watching TV the whole time and taking care of everything that way. This way you're not involved in all the nitty-gritty of having to be a landlord, or the toilet's broken, or the heat's not working, or the window doesn't close, or any of that garbage that goes along with being a landlord. But you can definitely do it that way. Another way is you can do tax liens. You can get, depending on the state, it's anywhere from 9 to 36%, and you bid down interest on the tax liens, and then you get a percentage of that money when it comes in, usually anywhere from 6 to 24 months when it comes in. And this way you don't have to deal with any of that stuff either. If the heat goes or the window goes or anything like that goes, it doesn't matter, and you can still get money that way. And you don't have to deal with any landlording issues that are common to landlords.
Yeah, we teach 17 different ways to invest in real estate, and 4 of them, you never own the real estate.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you can learn that at your seminar.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a seminar. It's actually it's
a
school or coaching program, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But so just come to investorschooling.com. Go to investorschooling.com, and we will be sure to teach you some of those things. There's so many different ways that we teach how to make money with your money. And it's funny because some people come to us for real estate, some people come to us for stock options. And some people, when they come, they realize that we're teaching so much more than just real estate and stock options. We're teaching money mindset. I mean, a lot of people have no money mindset. It's amazing where people don't understand money.
Yeah. So another way to do it too is you can also be a private lender, and you don't have to worry about any of that stuff either.
We teach that as well.
Rich.
No. So even if you have $100,000 in an annuity somewhere, most likely your annuity is paying 3 or 4%. You can invest that money I shouldn't say invest, but lend that money to a real estate investor who will maybe give you 8 or 9%.
Yeah.
And it's risk free when you understand how to do it. You have to understand how to do it, and once we teach you how to do it the right way, it's risk free. I've actually put, probably a half a dozen people in the business of private money lending.
Yeah.
And it's just
really
amazing.
well.
Yeah, they're doing really, really well.
Do
exactly.
really, really well with that. Like they're carefree, and they just kind of work with whatever they want to work with, and they have their mailbox money. So it's great. It's a really good way to make some money.
I didn't know the insurance companies would let you do that.
No. When you say I would say cash in your annuity instead of putting it in 3 or 4% annuity. You cash in your annuity and you use that money to lend that money out. I just use it as an example. It could be other things too. Now, how old are you, Jim?
72.
Okay, perfect. You have an IRA?
Yeah.
And you have to take required minimum distributions this year, don't you?
Well, I heard this would be my first year, but I heard some guy on the radio say it was raised to 73.
Yeah,
So
it is actually 73.
Who's right?
Yeah, it is 73. But here's the thing, right? So next year when you have to take your RMD, now you're depleting your IRA account, which you may or may not want to deplete, but we teach you how to use your IRA to make money, to make the money that you're going to take out anyway. So let's say, for example, and I'd have to do the math for you, but let's say, for example, you had to take out $1,000 a month. We would have you buy a property inside your IRA, and you get $1,000 a month rent, and you take that $1,000 a month as your RMD. And meanwhile, your IRA is going up in value every year because the property value is going up every year, and the $1,000 a month is meeting your requirement for the IRS, which is fantastic. And now your money goes up, and your RMD requirement is made.
Oh, okay. So it is correct. I don't have to take it out until I'm 73.
Yeah. Yeah, it might have even been raised again, but I think it's 73. All right, cool. We'll look forward to seeing you in class,
very
hopefully.
Much, and I enjoy your show.
Hey, when are you going to come see us?
To the other guy that was with you.
What other guy?
Your partner, the other partner. I forget his name.
Yeah, me too. I forgot his name too.
I'm the best one. What are you talking about?
I forgot his name too.
I'm the best partner he has, so just go with me for a while.
You're fine. I was just surprised because I hadn't listened for a while, and I thought that guy's voice changed.
Yeah. I sound a little bit different now,
Yeah, and she's a lot smarter than he was.
Yeah.
And she's a lot smarter than I am. So.
Yeah, I joke around
She's
a lot.
PhD.
I laugh. It's all. I laugh. I have a funny laugh, so people, smile with me. So it's all good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Jim. We appreciate the call. Let's get Matt in Center City. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, Larry, how you doing?
All right, man.
Boy, I was going to go with what was the nickname for your former partner that you used to play on the radio all the time? But moving forward, how many properties do you have in trust? Because I know you don't have one in your name, so maybe people can try and guess how many properties.
Oh, like as an idea for the book, he's saying.
So here's an interesting thing about that, man. I'm going to tell you something really interesting. And so when people they always say, how many properties do you have? How many properties do you have? The really weird part is I'll never answer the question anyway, the direct question. And here's the reason. It's so bizarre, but no matter who's out there, it's the wrong answer. So to some people, it's, oh, that's all you have? And to other people, it's, wow, you have too many properties. I don't want to talk to you. Yeah. So I never give the real answer, and that's why nobody ever knows. But the answer that I do give is enough that I never have to work again.
Yeah.
So that's the answer, and that's the best answer, and that's what everybody should strive for. They should strive for getting enough rental income that they never have to work again. But since I can't use your question, I'm going to give you the book anyway. But I just can't use your question because I go ahead.
It's okay. I want to go back to. I always enjoyed when you played Mafia Shyster. That was fun back in the day. But going forward, I know you want to go forward.
I'll do it for you. Here you
go.
go.
The book of someone else. Sorry.
Hey Matt, I got something for you. Ready?
He sounds like a mafioso shyster.
Yes.
Here you go. One more time.
He sounds like a mafioso shyster.
I did that just for you. All right.
That drove him crazy every time.
I know. It's pretty funny, right?
That was. It was. All right, sir. Have a good weekend.
Wait. So don't go anywhere. Hold on. Sean is going to take your name and your address so we can send you a book. We appreciate it. And we're going to take a commercial right after that. Actually, we're going to take a commercial right now, so Sean can take that information. When we come back, we'll be taking more calls. If anybody has another question, we'll be more than happy to make that happen. So let's go to commercial. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling.
Wow, you're struggling.
How many commercials you want to play, Larry?
I know. Play
to those who own
play
real
2 minutes
assets.
worth. I don't know.
At Investor Schooling.
All right, play 2 minutes worth? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get Jim at Pottstown?
And other investments.
That was Jim before.
Including stocks, stock options, and even the basics of cryptocurrency. We even teach you how to pay thousands
we're
less
still
in
on the air
taxes
on Facebook.
Legally. So
And the
go
Facebook
to
people
investorschooling.com
always love
and
the
find out how
chatter,
you
but
can
we have no
attend a
chatter.
complimentary class
all
this
good.
Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get Eddie
Investorschooling.com.
I thought we were missing somebody. It's all good.
This is Larry Steinhaus, and
we
you
can
have probably
mute
heard my
ourselves.
radio shows and listened to my great advice on how you can make more money and pay less taxes. Well, I just finished writing a book on all things I teach at Investor Schooling and on my radio shows. This book is called Money Hacks, and you want a copy of this book, and you can pre-order this book wherever books are sold. Look for Money Hacks by Larry Steinhaus. Hey, it might even be a tax deduction. Order Money Hacks by Larry Steinhaus wherever books are sold, and come see me at Investor Schooling. This is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Are you tired of being broke? If you're tired of being broke, go to investorschooling.com, sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday, and learn how not to be broke. That's right. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday. And if you have any questions, you can call us at 215-876-3002, 215-876-3002. Go to investorschooling.com, sign up for this Thursday, and learn how not to be broke. Investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling, and I'm so excited when our students do well. Listen to this student and listen to what he has to say about Investor Schooling.
I sold one of my properties last October, doubled my money, and what I did, I invested into another property and then closed on a refi, and I wrote myself a check out for $118,000.
10 seconds.
It's awesome. I'm so excited. And if you want to find out more about Investor Schooling, go to investorschooling.com, and we will see you Thursday night, and we will help you any way we can. Hey, Glenn Page, John plays better music than you do. I like that. That was pretty good. Hey, welcome back to Investor Schooling Live. I am Larry Steinhaus. I am the CEO of Investor Schooling. I'm here with Dr. Deb,
Hey,
who
everybody.
is the senior. I didn't list for a while. Senior
Student,
Can you say it for me?
senior student liaison.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know what that means even really, but okay, I'll just go with that. But you know,
What it means is, you handhold the students.
no, I know. But for the longest time, I was just like student liaison, and then the first time I read it was senior. I'm like, oh wow, I've been upgraded.
You didn't know that? You've been upgraded for a long time.
No, I know, but that first time that you put it up there, you never said anything to me about it.
Oh.
It just was on the screen, and I'm like,
okay.
oh wow, check it out. So I got upgraded.
Well, at the moment, you're the only student liaison. So. Now, we have somebody starting Monday, too. Actually, if you guys will come on next Thursday, you're going to meet our newest student liaison, who is Hannah. She's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy her company as well. All right. Anyway, getting back to whatever it was we were talking about. So if you guys want to call in, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. And right now, the really weird contest we're having is if you could come up with a question for... Wait, how do we do this?
I guess we should have thought about this before we started the show.
Yeah, but we never do that.
Yeah, no, we're not.
So if you could come up with a really good question for us to ask to give away a book, we'll give you the book so we can use that question later for somebody else to give the book to. Did I explain that properly?
Yeah, so, whoever comes up with that idea, we should give them a book for coming up with the idea.
Exactly.
And then we should give it to somebody who actually
Right.
answers the question.
Right, and then we gave Matt a book because he came up with a really good question.
Yeah.
But it was a question that I just can't answer because of, I don't know. It's just people. People have opinions. So it's weird.
Yeah.
But again, I own enough properties that I never have to work again, which is really, really cool. And I trade enough stock options, or at least I had traded enough stock options where I could buy things like Corvettes and ice cream stores.
I'm working on that. I'm on my way, but I'm not there yet.
Do you
but
want
I'm
a
working on
Corvette?
that. I don't want a Corvette now.
Yeah.
I wanted an Audi until it went through my house. But now I don't want an Audi. I'll stick to Jeeps right now.
Yeah, I remember when the car went through your house. That was a little rough.
No, I always wanted an Audi. Like, I really wanted an Audi.
Right.
And that.
Now you don't want one because it
now
went through your house?
Yeah, now I really don't want one anymore.
You should get one for revenge.
So clearly they're made well though. If it drove away though,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah,
clearly they're made well. But yeah, I'll change. I'm good with that one right now. So I'll stick with that one.
All right, so we talked about notes before, which is really cool. And some people got a nice education. By the way, if you want to call in and talk anything about notes, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to talk to you about notes. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137 is the call-in number. What's something really cool that we could talk about right now? Actually, I got something that I'm going to do in probably about a month or so.
Okay.
I'm going to bring in a local district judge,
Right.
to talk about evictions.
Okay.
That's going to be a really good show, but I'm not sure what day he's available. We've been talking,
Okay.
and I'm going to let you know. And I think it's going to be a really good show because people are always afraid. You always hear this rumor, it took me 6 months to get rid of a tenant. So I have a tenant that I'm evicting. And I got to be honest with you. I in 42 years, including my property managers who don't do it as well as I do. I don't believe that they manage properties as well as I do, and they do a really good job managing my properties.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I should be careful because
I was going to say Audrey's on. You be
listening
careful
right now.
before you upset her.
So Audrey's doing my properties in Delaware, but we haven't had any problems.
Audrey's going to call you up after this.
But she's also new, so it's also new that I'm doing stuff in Delaware. So she might not be. She might actually be. So far,
she might call you up after the show and say, "You know what, Larry?
She's great.
I've had enough of you."
But my other property managers, like my property manager in Lehigh Valley, has had 3 evictions ever. As long as I've had properties with him, and I had properties with him for over 15 years, and he's only had 3 evictions. So, but me personally, I've only had 1 eviction ever, which is the one I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
And it's funny because from the time I filed to the time now he had till yesterday to get out,
Okay.
and he didn't, and I knew he wouldn't.
Yeah.
And the door will be posted on Monday by the constable, and the constable will give him 3 or 5 days. I'm not sure what they do in this part.
So how do you know he's not gone? Like, do you drive by and knock on the door, or how do you know?
So, well, I happened to drive by and see them packing.
Okay, no, I'm just
Yeah.
asking, like, how do you know?
And they reached out to me as a favor, and I gotta be honest, I'm a big fan of doing people favors,
Yeah.
unless they screw me. Remember I said that earlier. I'm a really nice guy, unless and I don't remember how I said it, but you know, so this guy is such a jerk. I can't use the words that I want to use on the air.
Right.
That's how much I don't like this guy. And he said, "Hey, can you give me to the 19th?" And I said, "No, you've made me promises so many times about so many things. I'm giving you nothing."
Now, this is the tenant or the tenant's dad?
Well, it's a tenant. They're both tenants, so it's a tenant's dad.
Okay.
But they're both technically tenants.
Okay.
And I said, "I'm sorry, I just can't do it. I'm filing for possession." So basically, I won the eviction.
Yeah.
And they have 10 days to get out. When you evict somebody and you win the eviction, they have 10 days to get out. So they had 10 days to get out. That ended yesterday. Actually, ended Thursday.
Okay.
They were still in on Friday.
Okay.
So now on Friday, what I would do is I go to the courthouse and I file for the actual possession. So it's actually like where the constable knocks on the door and says, "You out now." It's not even, you know, here's a half hour to pack. It's no, you are no longer living in this place. Get out. I don't even care if you're in the middle of going to the bathroom. Leave half of it there. Leave half of it in your body. You're out. That's really what you know the constable will do at that point.
Okay.
So, you know, so I thought, look, they have basically probably so the door probably won't be posted till Monday. So the constable has to post the door, and they have to give it's either 3 or 5 days. I can't remember which it is in that county, but it's 3 or 5 days, and then they have to be out by that 3 or 5 days. Constable knocks on the door 3 days later, and if they're still there, they literally take them out and they put them out on the street and say, "Sorry, you can't live here anymore." Now, don't feel sorry for this guy because this guy deserves to be put out on the street, and believe me, his father will put him in his house anyway. So don't feel sorry for this guy. I'm not the jerk in this case. He is.
Yeah.
And he really. I mean, to talk about you know, evicting somebody who's paying their rent 4 days in advance every month, I must really have a problem with this. Now, I don't want to talk about it too much yet. I want to wait till it's over.
Yeah.
When it's completely over, I'll tell you exactly. I did mention it a couple of times in some of the shows, but since we're so close, I don't want to do anything that could you know mess it up. So I'll wait. Maybe even next week or the week after, I'll talk about what he actually did. But it's not good. It's just not good. So anyway, it's not the whole point of this is it's not hard to get rid of tenants. It's only hard if you wait, and if you wait, and what I mean by wait is you wait. You know, the tenant says, "Hey, I'm late on my rent this week. Can you wait till next week to take it?" Well, that's 7 more days of them living in the apartment, whether you evict them or not. So if you're going to evict them, it's 7 more days. So at the end of that 7 days, they say, "Well, you know, here's $100. I know I owe you $1,500. I'll give you the other 14 soon." Well, that's 7 more days that you waited. That's why it takes so long. It doesn't take long for the court system to move. It takes long for the landlord to move. I've said this so many times before. There's no such thing as bad tenants. There's only bad landlords. And in this case, you know, I'm being a good landlord by getting rid of this tenant who pays on time because there are other issues. So that's the difference. You know, he you could call him a bad tenant if you want to. I don't care. But if I was a good landlord, I would get rid of him as soon as possible, which is what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
In fact, I waited too long. You know, when I tell the whole story, you'll see that I actually waited too long because I gave him the benefit of the doubt too many times.
Yeah.
And I actually got caught up in trying to be a nice guy and letting the guy stay here. And the nicer I was, the more of a jerk this guy became.
Yeah.
So I finally said, I had enough. Sorry, I'm evicting you tomorrow.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a tenant who I know that we've chatted a little bit offline about it, but I have this tenant in Philly, and the first month's rent was fine, and then they were late last month, and I told them I'm filing on the 15th. I'm like, this is the day, and then they sent it like, I don't know, a couple days before, and then of course now they're late, and I said I'm filing on Friday because this Friday is the 14th that's coming, and I'm like, I'm filing on Friday, and then can I write a note and say I'm moving forward, I'm going to start filing on the 10th, or
You can do anything you want.
Okay.
You could technically, so the rent's due on what day?
It's due on the 1st.
Right. So if they don't pay on the 2nd, you could technically file on the 2nd.
Okay.
Just so you know. I mean, just understand. But, you know, I go through the speech, and what you're doing is you're going by the speech that I give.
Yeah.
And the speech that I give to the new tenant when they move in, they go, hey, Deb, just want you to let you know, rent's due on the 1st, on the 2nd it's late, on the 5th it's a $150 late fee, and on the 15th I file for eviction.
Right.
Now listen, if you're in the hospital, you know, you get into a car accident, your grandmother died, I don't care, give me a call, I'm going to send you flowers, but I'm still filing for eviction. Do we understand each other?
Right. So I gave that same speech,
Okay.
and they were like, okay, everything's fine.
Great.
So then, like I said, the first month they were fine. The second month they were late, and I said the same thing. I'm filing on this day. And then now it's happening again. So
Right, so they're testing you.
yeah, and it's very frustrating.
Right. So don't be frustrated about it. Just be firm about it. So on the 5th, so they didn't pay their rent by the 5th, right? Which now, what, the 8th?
Yeah.
So on the 6th, you sent them a text message or an email or a letter.
Yeah.
That said, hey, your rent was due yesterday. I did not receive it. Your rent, you now owe a $150 late fee. Please send it immediately. And please note that on the 15th, I will be filing for eviction. Right? Now, did they respond to that or something?
Yeah, they said that first. They said I'm sending you money today, which I haven't
didn't.
gotten,
Yeah, of
and then I wrote them a note a couple days ago saying I'll be filing on the 15th.
Good.
You'll get your money by Wednesday. They wrote me back.
Good,
and
and
I'm
you
like,
will. And then you responded with make sure the late fee's in it, right?
I didn't respond to it.
Okay, that's fine. So just respond to it right now. Get out your phone right now and respond to it. Respond to it and say, make sure you pay the late fee of whatever late fee you have, and please don't make a habit of this. Is the best way to answer. Now think about this, right? I want you to think about this because it's really weird to think about. But if they pay their rent every month on the 7th, you make an extra $100 or $150.
I get that. But it's just I don't want to keep chasing
I don't
these
either.
people to
I don't either.
get paid.
But think about the text message. So basically, you send them a text message that says, "Hey, your rent is late again. Make sure you put the $150 late fee or whatever late fee you put in there, the $150 late fee in there, and you got paid $150 to send a text message."
Okay.
Now, the problem with this is these tenants are going to test you again. So they're testing you with the late fee. They've already tested you, and now, did you waive the first one?
No.
Okay, good for you. So you didn't waive it. So now they're testing you. They say, okay, is she really going to be this serious? And they're testing you. You know what's going to happen next, right?
They're going to do it late again.
They're going to do it late. They're going to do it late past the 15th. So you're going to have to file once.
Okay.
Because these people are testing you, and that's just basically the way it is. So what? So you file, and then they get served. They get served, and now they owe you not only the rent, the late fee, but they also owe you the cost of the filing, which is like $250, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And if it costs them that, then again, they're going to pay it. Now, the nice thing, I'm just saying the nice thing because it's bad, but if they don't pay it and they don't pay you, you're already moving forward in the eviction.
Right.
Now, this is in Philly, right?
This is in Philly, and I took 2 months security.
Okay, and you did, and I don't want to go because you had a bad credit.
No, just because I think I just had a hunch.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So that's great. So now you have 2 months ago, and you took last month too on top of it.
Yeah.
So great. So you're ahead 3 months. If it takes 45 days to evict, which is pretty common, it takes about 45 days from the time you file. It takes about that to evict. So you're ahead. They leave. You're ahead a month. So that's why you got to do it right away.
Okay.
And it's funny. Your gut feeling was right. Now the interesting part was in Pennsylvania, the rule is, she said she took 2 months security. The rule is you can take 1 month security and you can hold that for the whole time that they have the tenancy, or you can take 2 months security if you have a hunch or if you feel that their credit is not that good. But after 12 months, if they pay on time, you have to refund that the second month security.
Right.
Now, at this point, you don't even have to refund that second month security ever now until they move out, that is.
Right.
Because they've already missed that date twice. So that's really good for you because now you can hold their security and, assuming they start to pay in time or if they keep being late, that's fine. Here's another thing about the late fee. And we talked about this before too. With the late fee, if somebody has a late fee, and let's say it's $1,000 a month rent, let's make it easy, and it's $100 late fee. If the person on the 6th sends you $1,000 without the late fee because they're late, they send you $1,000. Now let's not use the 6th. Let's use the 8th because 6 is borderline.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I mean, some whatever. I may let it go on the 6th, but I really don't want to. But let's say I just want to make it easier for the listener. Let's say it's on the 8th. They send you $1,000. They're supposed to send you $1,100 because it's $1,000 plus $100 late fee, right?
Right. So they're still short.
So now I immediately send them a text message or an email or a letter that says, "Hey, I did get your $1,000. You did not pay the late fee. Just know that next month, the first $100 that you give me goes towards last month's late fee. That means if you pay me $1,000, only $900 of it went to your rent, which means your rent will be late again if I don't have the late fee by the 5th, which means you'll owe $200 in late fees." So I make sure that that's very, very clear to them that they're paying that late fee, whether they like to pay that late fee or not, and it's going to keep building. So just keep it in mind that you want to make sure that you fully explain to them that those late fees keep building. They get a $100 late fee every single month if they don't pay it. And now, eventually, if it goes 10 months in that scenario,
you get to keep the security.
No. If it goes 10 months in that scenario, think about this, right? It goes 10 months in that scenario, they haven't even paid their rent yet.
Oh.
Because they've now paid 10 months of late fees in that check for $1,000. They paid 10 months of late fees. They haven't even paid their rent yet. So now you're going to, now you got, first of all, you shouldn't go that long anyway. You should probably go 3 months of that BS. If they're paying their rent on time and they owe you $300, I'll let that go a little bit longer than the 15th, but I'm not going to let it go very long.
Okay.
Because I know what's going to happen when I go in front of a judge. What's going to happen when I go in front of a judge is just going to go, this is unreasonable amount of late fees. We're going to cut it in half.
Okay.
So I want to catch it fast. 2 or 3 months is when I want to catch it and file. Because I want to let the tenant know I'm serious.
So you're going to file for, so the reason I'm asking is because I remember when we were away in California, I had that one tenant with the whole gas thing. And
that's a different situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So
well, we can talk about
that some of the time.
We should talk about it all the time because it's a different setup.
Yeah.
And it may take a while. We have about 5 minutes left of the show, so it's a different setup. I don't want to get into that yet. But the whole point is the late fee is paid. The very next payment is the late fee is paid first.
Right.
So now they owe $900. I'm sorry, they paid $900 instead of $1,000. The following month, if they continue to do that, they pay $1,000. They now owe $200 in late fees. Now only $800 of it went to the rent, and they owe another late fee. So then the next one is $700 goes towards, then $600. So if they keep going that way, they're gonna basically be late a full year. Not a full year, but as long as you let it go.
So if it was $100 for the first month, and then because it would still be late going to the second month,
right? So they would still owe. They would owe $100. They don't owe. No. You pay. They paid that late fee.
Right.
They paid the first late fee, but they're short $100 in rent.
Which makes them late for this month.
Which makes them late for the next one. Right?
I got it.
Now they're short $100. Now they're short $200. Now they're short $200 in rent the next month. Understand? You're not paying that. You're paying rent. They're paying their rent, and part of that rent went to the late fee.
Okay.
That's why, and that's the only way it stands up in court too.
Okay.
It went to late fee. They don't owe late fees. They owe me rent.
Okay.
And you have to track it because the judge may back part of it out. Remember, judges can do whatever they want. That's another reason why I want to have that judge in here.
Yeah.
Judges can do whatever they want. They can make any decision based on anything they want. They go, oh, you're a really nice person here. You win. And that would be at the district court level. The district court level is crazy.
Okay.
It's the Wild West in the district court level. However, you can appeal it. Now, I've seen landlords get, they basically got screwed in district court.
Okay.
But they should have appealed it. They didn't.
Okay.
We had a couple of them people call in a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, we got a few more minutes. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137 if you want to call in. We still got a few more minutes if you have any questions. or if you want to talk about the book, I guess we kind of like nobody really
nobody
really
gave us
had a
any
good
ideas.
question. Actually, Matt had the best question, but it was one that I couldn't answer.
Yeah.
Anyway, 855-939-1137. Should we say that the next person to call in with any question?
All right,
Because
let's do
we got to
that.
give it another book. All right. So if you call, you got like 2 minutes. So if you call in with any question at all, Dr. Deb and I will give you a book. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. All right, cool. So what do you think's going on? What do you think's going on in the real estate market?
I think prices are coming down.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think prices are coming down.
So I don't know if they're coming down as much as they're not going up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the prices are definitely not going up anymore.
They're not going up anymore, but they're definitely. I think they're starting to level off a little bit. They're starting to
I think
level
so,
off.
too.
So I love how we get where I live, we get these Keller Williams, you know, all those sales in the neighborhood,
Right.
and we get these like insane amounts for houses in our neighborhood, and we're like, oh, if we sold our house, we can make so much money. Not that we're interested in doing that, but I think it's hysterical how that keeps coming in, and they're also using like prices from like 6 months ago or a year ago, and I'm like, these prices aren't really going to stand up anymore. So I think that's always interesting. But it's neat to see those like big numbers with all those zeros and say, hey, wow, we could sell a house for this much money.
Right. It's just like even my wife and I, we paid a certain amount for a house, and it's worth not quite worth double, but it's worth at least 75% more.
Yeah, ours is worth almost double.
And it wasn't
what
that
we
long
paid for
ago.
it.
We only bought that house 5 years ago.
Yeah, ours is almost double what we paid for
Yeah.
it, and it's been about 5 years, so which blows my mind. So,
Yeah, it's pretty amazing the prices of houses out there. So a lot of people say, what do they say? Should I buy an investment property now? And the answer is
always now.
always.
Now.
It's always now.
It's always
It's
now.
always try to find the right deal and buy an investment property.
Yeah.
So definitely do that. So real quick on the stock market side, I know kind of out of time, but the stock market side, listen, the stock market is going to go up for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and it's going to come back down. So now is a good time to, if you understand puts, it's a good time to buy puts. It's a good time to sell your stock short if you know how to do that. Good time to sell covered calls. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, you want to come to Investor Schooling and you want to learn it. Go to investorschooling.com and you will learn it. Real quick, Carl, what do you got? You got 1 minute.
Hey, yeah, I was going to say they could guess how many chapters are in the book or how many pages are in the book.
There you go. That's
that
beautiful,
could be a
Carl.
Possibility, right?
All right. So
all right.
Carl, is this Carl who's a student?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So
Yep,
Carl,
yep,
I got no more time. So Sean's going to take your address. Most likely we
know.
have it, but he's going to take your address.
Gotcha.
But we got to go anyway. So if you guys want to come to Investor Schooling, go to investorschooling.com. And if you say you heard us on the radio this week, we'll actually give you one of my books. How's that? So go to investorschooling.com. I want to thank Sean for filling in for Glenn. I want to thank Glenn for listening to the show, even though he didn't have to. And, of course, I want to thank all the listeners out there for listening to the show every week. We love your support. Thank you so much. And this week we do have a class. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com, and we will see you Thursday.
This program is paid for by Investor Schooling. All opinions or statements expressed
All right, good job, Larry.
reflect the
Thanks,
opinions
bud.
of
You did a good job, man.
WPHT or Odyssey.